Italy is on edge, and its Prime Minister is furious. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has condemned anti-Olympics protesters and the unknown perpetrators behind a string of suspected railway sabotage attacks that disrupted train services across northern Italy just hours after the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics were officially launched. In a blistering social media post, Meloni denounced what she called the enemies of Italy and Italians, accusing them of damaging the country's image on the world stage. Her message was accompanied by Fox News footage showing firecrackers and smoke bombs filling the streets of Milan during violent protests against the Olympics. First, they demonstrate against the Olympics, then they cut railway cables to stop trains from running. The timing could not have been worse. Italy's state railway operator, Ferrovie dello Stato, confirmed serious damage to railway infrastructure, describing the incidents as deliberate acts of sabotage. Near Pesaro, a track switch was set on fire. Hours later, cables were damaged along the crucial Bologna-Venice line, triggering widespread delays and affecting thousands of passengers. Transport Minister Matteo Salvini swiftly linked the attacks to the Olympics, warning the acts echoed the terror-style sabotage seen in France ahead of the Paris Games last year, when arson targeted railway networks just before the opening ceremony. As investigations continue, unrest is also playing out on the streets. Protesters, some violent, marched through Milan to oppose the Winter Olympics, clashing with police. 6 people were arrested after confrontations escalated, according to the BBC. With trains disrupted, protests erupting, and comparisons to past Olympic-linked attacks now being drawn, Italy's Olympic countdown has begun under a cloud of tension and growing fears over security, stability, and sabotage.
Peaceful protest is entirely legitimate in many countries of the world. And we draw a line, as we said earlier on, at violence. Well, that has no place at the Olympic Games. But I think it's very much something that's apart from I honestly don't know how many protesters there were and so on, but I think we just need to get on with the Games, which will, spread a strong message of unity and peace to the world, which I think is very important at this moment in time.
However, all of this must always, in any case, take place within a perimeter of respect, of positive discussion. Everything that goes beyond this boundary and ends in violence or in demonstrations that do not fall within common dialogue does not belong to this world.
The streets of Italy's Milan turned into nothing less than a battleground after thousands of protesters clashed with police on February 7th against the Winter Olympics that kick-started a day before. The protest was initially peaceful, but as demonstrators passed near the Olympic Village, which was secured by a large police cordon, some demonstrators threw firecrackers and smoke bombs toward the athletes' housing. Moments later, violence and clashes ensued. Footage shows protesters launching fireworks, smoke bombs, and flares at police. In response, officers deployed water cannons and charged at protesters with batons to disperse the crowd near the Olympic venue. At least 6 people were detained during the clashes, according to media reports. Protesters took to the streets over the environmental impact of the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics, Milan's worsening housing crisis, and the deployment of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, personnel. People carried cardboard cutouts representing the trees cut down to build the new bobsled run in Cortina. The march was organized by an activist organization called the Unsustainable Olympics Committee, which mobilized a wide coalition of grassroots sports groups, civic and environmental movements, students, housing activists, combative unions, pro-Palestine networks, and trans-feminist collectives.
A march bringing together grassroots unions, social movements, and citizen associations to co-protest against the Olympics that were built only for the benefit of the rich, to promote real estate speculation, to promote the enrichment of entrepreneurs through the lucrative slices of public contracts.
So today we're demonstrating against the Olympics, which is another massive project that seems they want to make it out to be an opportunity for all citizens, for students, when in reality it's nothing but financial speculation, construction speculation and overdevelopment.
Well, the reasons are quite varied and numerous, encompassing both political and economic factors. Specifically today we're here in the square representing with these very larches, the 800 larches that were cut down in Cortina to build a bobsled track, which we all know will probably never be used again. Since it's not a national sport for us, it will surely be another construction monstrosity that will then be abandoned, but with an obvious waste of public money now.
Well, because I believe that these Milan Cortina Olympic Games have not in reality been as environmentally friendly as they're trying to sell them to us, and that it is furthermore a significant affront to the city of Milan and to its citizens.
It's about presenting all this incredible opulence, post-skip. But then, in the actual day-to-day experience of living in Milan, you don't really find all that same lavishness.
Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's government recently passed a decree allowing for stricter detention of agitators during the Winter Games, a move critics denounced as limiting freedom of expression. The Milan Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics will run for 17 days from February 6th to 22nd, 2026, and will gather up to 2,800 athletes from more than 90 countries. It marks the fourth time Italy has hosted the Olympic Games, following the Winter Olympics in 1956 and 2006, and the Summer Olympics in Rome in 1960.